first.
If you don't watch this clip, there's no hope for you. If you're one of the people who listens to the podcast and doesn't watch the clips,
you're out.
I would make an exception in this case.
No. If you don't watch this, you're done. Yeah. You're dead to us.
You're dead to us. I'm
addicted
the other day.
to this clip. I'm an addict.
I found this the other day, and it's one of those ones you just immediately know it's going to be straight in the podcast. This is at Liverpool, John Moores University back in the 70s, which was the first university to sort of offer a sports science degree. Obviously, I did a sports science degree, and Steph works in a sports science university. But the trailblazer in this country were Liverpool John Moores. And the person who was very much instrumental in that was another Welsh fellow, pleased to know.
Yeah.
Called Vaughan Thomas, PhD, who only passed away a couple of years ago and is, without doubt, one of the most interesting characters I've seen in the 3.5 years doing this podcast. This is Dr. Vaughan Thomas almost killing an undergraduate student. Fucking hell. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. No. There's a bit in this clip. So if you don't, so he's putting a student on a cycle erg, but it's the old-fashioned one that if you've been to a university or a sports department at a school, you will have seen this sort of white foldable belt, like a friction belt cycling thing that was used in the 70s and the 60s, 70s predominantly, and in the 80s as well. But just very, very basic bit of equipment. You know, no sort of peloton on this, no screens, no nothing. Just gradually would get harder. You twist a dial and make it harder and harder. The kid's on there, he is a kid, like he's probably 19 or 20 years of age.
Yeah, at most, yeah.
They've genuinely got him hooked up to an ECG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which the bloke in very clipped English, who's narrating the piece, drops in to say that basically that's there to record the students for record keeping purposes and for research. He says, but also to ensure that they don't get basically trained to death by Dr. Thomas.
Yes.
And you think I'm exaggerating? Trained to death by someone who's in loco parentis. So he's on this exercise bike, top off.
He's done the run first. He doesn't get a second's rest.
No,
Greg, get on the bike. He's absolutely fucked this bike.
He's counting down in the way that really sadistic rugby coaches would count.
Don't steal a second from me.
Where they go 10, get down 5, 4, 3. Okay, we've only got a few more seconds to go now, so keep pushing as hard as you can. Don't cheat it. 2. I thought, fuck off, mate. That was it. That was an 8-second gap.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. So, yeah.
And then the kid stops pedalling probably half a second before 0. He goes, "You pinched a second there. Don't cheat yourself."
So good.
And then when he then after like this, it looks like the second time. It might be the 5th time. He sort of falls off the bike, and Dr. Thomas puts him in like a reverse headlock.
Yeah, come on, you're slowing down now. You're slowing down now. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Don't stop. You're slowing.
To stop him falling over, he puts him in a neck lock, sits him on a chair, and then if you watch what he's been interviewed, Dr. Thomas has got his hands on his sort of on his pulse, just to check he's still got a pulse when he's talking. And he says, "What are your thoughts on Dr. Thomas?" He goes, "I hate him."
but not in a funny way.
No,
not in a
no.
I hate this guy.
I hate him. He's
a lad.
I hate him.
I hate him.
What are you?
At least I got 3 years of this to go.
Yeah, I hate him.
He goes, "What are you thinking when you're on that exercise bike? Just let it finish. When is it finish?"
I'm not even. I want to let it end. In other words, please let me survive this.
Well, no, I don't know if he means that or if he means let me die. I can't work out which he means. Just let it end.
If they're trying to reach superhuman levels of fitness, which they will reach in 3 years' time, they're going to have to.
I just want to go 3 years in the piss on my mates, mate.
To experience this kind of stress.
Can I write an essay?
This was in an amateur sports era as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That boy is clearly fit. But they're
not going to go
to his absolute limit.
I suppose the only sport at that time that would have paid would have been a living, would have been probably football and a couple of other things. Football, you'd have been an apprenticeship. You wouldn't go to university to go to football.
No.
So these would have been rowers and athletes and rugby players and sports where there was no income. So this one.
At 2:08, he sat on the bike cycling. At 2:17, all you can see in the shot is his head and the check pants of the doctor staring back at you.
And could he look
great? He looks so cool.
Well, they read his sort of a little pen, like a bio of Dr. Thomas. And I think he like fenced for the army, he played badminton for Wales, he was a running coach, a boxing coach, a climbing coach. He competed in the Olympics in basketball for Great Britain. He was a runner. He was obviously, whatever
How's
he did.
How's he not famous?
Yeah, but
I'd never heard of him.
He didn't play any sort of marquee sports, did he? I don't think. I don't think British basketball was a big thing back in the day. Or
no, that's true.
Fencing didn't have a big following. But I mean, he's ex-forces. He looks completely detached from it when he's talking about it. And he mentions, again, like completely matter-of-factly, about the psychological tests have shown that sadism and masochism are both...
Yeah, I've got that bit here.
Yeah.
Our own psychological studies reveal that sport is a vehicle for sadism and masochism.
And his face when he's saying that
says,
not only do the studies say this, but I fucking agree with it.
Yeah. These things come out in a socially acceptable form, perhaps.
Perhaps.
He only died a couple of years ago, and if you go on their website, he's one of the founding fathers of that whole genre, really. Like I did a sports science degree. Maybe if it wasn't for lunatics like Dr. Thomas, that wouldn't have been a thing. I don't know. I've never seen. But I remember when I started work in Metropolitan Fitness after I did my. It was called Metropolitan Health and Fitness Club, which is down by the Magic Roundabout these days, right? I had a fellow called Brian Daly, I think his name was, and he was ex-RAF, he was an MB and stuff, and he was still in his 60s, would do things like the End Garden ski marathon and do biathlons and do marathons all over the place. He was an ex-forces nutter like this bloke, right?
Yeah.
Who would go on a stair climber machine. You know the climber with the hands as well, like the rock climbing machines?
Yeah.
He'd do that for an hour, like a lunchtime. Just a fucking madman. So I came out of there like 27 years of age, 26.
Yeah.
To work as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So it's just come back to me now. He said to me, right, if you're, there's my CV, I got the job, all good. He said, right, jump on the treadmill. I said, what for? He said, I just want to, check your fitness and stuff, and so you know. And I remember giving me a fucking beasting on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Which was only about 8 minutes, but I was ball bagged at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
He said, well, we'll do one of those every month now. I said, I don't want to do one every month.
Why? Yeah.
He said, well, just you're on top of your fitness, and that same sort of Dr. Thomas approach to, I don't know if it's an ex-forces thing, because he did marathons in Finland all the time.
Yes.
Then I'm going to teach housewives in the middle of Cardiff how to do Zumba, but I need to push myself to the limit. And nothing like this. Yeah. Nothing like this. I'm talking about an 8 minute treadmill on an incline where I was knackered.
Yeah.
But this kid nearly dies. And then he's got to go back next week and do it again.
He's got such a red face. And he's obviously fit, and he's 19.
There's no fat on him. He's ripped, isn't he?
No,
he's taking his pulse with his thumb.
Yeah.
I mean, he just
I have to put him in a headlock. There's the headlock that finished me off.
Yeah. I could breathe until then.
Yeah.
You pinched a second there.
Yeah, it's the coach thing of counting down too slowly.
Yes.
10.
Oh.
9.
Got to push yourself.
What we're going to do after this?
8.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
You do some press-ups and some weights after this, okay, guys? 7.
Yeah.
What?
He's going to do another 3 of these. He goes, no.
Oh, please, not again. Not again, Doctor.
The ECG bit, I just laughed out loud when he says, yes, it's there to stop him training people to death.
It's just also,
And he's devoid of emotion.
It's because of his tash and his hair and the way he's dressed.
Yes.
And the
check pants and a shirt. None of that tracksuit bollocks.
No.
Yes. And the white cotton shorts that the students wearing. It's just so of its time.
Yes.
And his CV is unreal. So he's an Olympic basketball player, Welsh badminton player, former national cycling champion, RAF fencing blue, qualified coach in swimming, mountaineering, tennis, rowing, and boxing.
Yeah.
But it's just
you could happily imagine him in the sort of Inquisition back in the day.
Yeah.
Working for the Pope, because he's He's
and
got
he
that
towers
lovely...
over the student.
I came back from London the other day, and I was on the train, and the fellow doing the tickets there sat down opposite me. He said, he said, I've got to ask you a question. He said, is Mammoth based on the PE teacher at Bishop Gore School in Swansea? I said, no, he's not. He said, just we had a PE teacher like him. He said, moustache, you know, that sort of tracksuit, always doing weird stuff, and sort of Adidas Sambas and all that. I said, yeah, but big moustache. I said, yeah, but that was every PE teacher in the 70s.
Yeah,
and
those PE teachers were from Wales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They were
Generally
always from
across
Wales.
Yeah.
They always had a moustache.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were always borderline psychopaths.
Psychopaths who only liked rugby.
There's a bit in Nick Hornby's Fever Pitch where he had a Welsh PE teacher in the 70s in Maidenhead.
Yeah.
And this Welsh PE teacher, who was a borderline psychopath, tried to ban them from playing football at home.
Lad. Yeah, absolutely. It's not, rugby.
Because it was just rugby.
Yeah.
When my dad went to grammar school, they weren't allowed to play football at break time or in lunchtime.
Wow. Yeah.
Like when I went to school, and I left there in 1990. We didn't have a football team.
No.
We had 1,800 boys in a comprehensive school, and we never played football.
Yeah,
We had
were.
rugby sides, and that was it.
What is the student getting out of this? Apart from near
An
death.
appreciation of what it means to be near death. I think. So.
Yeah.
It feels
Well, he
like
also-
he's just a research victim.
Well, he also...
Rather than learning anything from
He's
this.
essentially a lab rat in shorts.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Well, Vaughan Lancaster Thomas also thinks that to have a healthy mind, you need a healthy body.
Yeah.
He says that right at the start.
Yeah.
So he's
I
trying to
broadly
create
agree with him.
a
but-
bunch of super fit athletes who are going to excel academically.
But weirdly, you look at him, and when I've seen there's only a couple of stills of him on the university site of him playing basketball back in the day. He's not like a ripped bloke, you know. He's in decent. I expect him to have like cut quads and that, but he doesn't look like that. He just looks like a fit armed forces type.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He looks like but no one was ever ripped like that in the 70s.
No, that's true.
No.
Apart from
They just didn't look,
bodybuilders.
apart from boxers, they just didn't look like that.
No.
There's that weird. Some older PE teachers, especially, would relish. So broadly fell into sort of two categories in my experience. One was that the blokes who wanted an easy life, I'm quite happy to put you through it, right? And were a bit of a laugh, but they'd have their cigar or their pipe or their cigarettes or whatever as well. And then you had a type of PE teacher who was only too keen to prove why they were better than you, and fitter than you, and stronger than you, and they'd push you to the limit all the time. And they were a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I went for an interview,
especially with the girls. I think that's such a it's such a destructive way to teach.
I went for an interview, my first interview. I didn't get in the first time I tried to get into Cardiff Met because I fucked up my A-levels and I was like 18 years of age. Went for the interview. And Keith Lancy, we're now mates with, was a lecturer there then, right?
Okay.
But he was I think he was doing a 400-metre hurdler, I think somewhere, or his 400 metres was his thing. And he had his spikes hanging up in his office, remember, and some trophies and stuff from back in the day.
Nice.
And was talking to me in the interview, and I just asked him, I thought I'd show a bit of interest, I'll ask him about his sort of hobbies as well, ask what the
Talk
spikes
about,
are about and stuff, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he's like, I could still beat any of the rugby boys, any sort of fitness testing. I went, oh, okay.
Okay, mate.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Good.
And then, so I didn't get in that time. He obviously binned me off at the interview stage.
Yeah.
When I did get in, about 3 or 4 years later, was with the INM's assistant, Non, interviewed me, and I got in. I remember seeing him again, first lecture. And he might deny this now, because we were mates. He went, I said, "Oh, Mr. Lance." He went, "Oh, Mr. Bubbins, all right." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, so you finally joined us?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, I'm a bit of a different person than I was when I was 18. He went, "I don't think you are." I thought, oh, all right, cheers.
Good.
And he only came around. He gave me a shit time for that first year, right?
Yeah.
All the time, just on my case about everything, right? And then we had a concert in college to raise a bit of money, and I sang Elvis in a jumpsuit, right? Turns out he's a massive Elvis fan.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next day, I'm on the athletics pitch. We got a track. We got something going on. He's doing like a throwing lesson the other side of the track. He went, "Mr. Bubbins." I said, "Oh Christ, here we go. I've done wrong now." I said, "Yes, sir." He went, Loved it yesterday. I love Elvis. I said, oh, yeah, me too. I said, yeah. So he trots over then. He said, having a bit of party at the house in a couple of weeks. You want to come over? And we became like best mates then.
That's so funny.
I watched the Euros over his house. We used to go out we have dinner. I used to babysit his kids.
That's weird then.
Genuinely.
That's weird.
We bonded over Elvis. He hated me before that.
Oh.
I've been mates ever since.